So let's solve. X cubed is equal to 4x. X cubed is equal to 4x. Okay, step 1 said put it in standard form. Standard form was when the left member is in descending order and the right member is 0. So I need to have the right member equal to 0. Well, to get the right member equal to 0, I need to subtract 4x from both sides. So if we have x cubed is equal to 4x, to get the right member 0, I need to subtract 4x. So I need to say x cubed minus 4x is equal to 4x minus 4x, which will in turn give me x cubed minus 4x is equal to 0. 4x minus 4x is 0. So that's step 1. In fact, I'm going to note this as step 1. Step 2 said to completely factor. So I need to factor x cubed minus 4x. I need to completely factor the left member. My first step in completely factoring is to note the common factor. We have a common factor of x. So if I factor out the x, I'm left with x squared minus 4. X is going to x cubed, x squared times x into a negative 4x is negative 4. I can factor x squared minus 4 again because it's the difference of two squares. So I can factor x squared minus 4 into x minus 2 times x plus 2. So we have x times x minus 2 times x plus 2 is equal to 0. And this would be step 2. Step 3 said to set each factor equal to 0. So I set x is equal to 0, I set x minus 2 is equal to 0, and I set x plus 2 is equal to 0. I set each factor equal to 0. Now this is probably the most critical step to understand. The only way I can get 0 in a multiplication problem is to multiply by 0. Therefore, one of these three things that I'm multiplying by must be 0. So I set each of them equal to 0. Well, x equals 0 is the solution. If x minus 2 is equal to 0, to solve for x, I would need to add a positive 2 to both sides. And then a negative 2 and plus 2 adds to 0. X plus 0 is x. 0 plus 2 is 2. To solve x plus 2 is equal to 0, I need to add a negative 2 to both sides, which gives me x is equal to negative 2. Now notice my largest exponent here is 3. I have 3 answers. In the last example, the largest exponent was 2. I had 2 answers. In general, that pattern is true. Now let's look at the check. Let's check all 3 of them. Now the equation, remember, is x cubed is equal to 4x. So on the left side I have x cubed, on the right side I have 4x. Replacing x by 0, I have 0 cubed, which is 0. I have 4 times 0, which is 0. So we see that 0 checks. Now I'm going to replace x by 2. In place of x, I put 2, so I have 2 cubed on the left. I have 4 times 2 on the right. Simply replace x by what it's equal to, which is 2. 2 cubed is 8. 2 times 2 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Again, 2 checks. Now for negative 2, I replace x by negative 2, so I have negative 2 cubed on the left, and I have 4 times negative 2 on the right. Negative 2 cubed is negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, which is negative 8. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So you can see that all three factors do indeed check, or all three answers do indeed check. So the solutions are x is 0, x is 2, x is negative 2. Let's look at another example. Let's solve 2x squared plus x is equal to 15. Now this is a quadratic equation. The largest exponent is 2. I expect to get two answers. Now to solve 2x squared plus x is equal to 15, my first step is to put the equation in standard form. Standard form is when the right member is 0 and the left member is in descending order. To get the right member 0, I need to subtract 15 from both sides. So I need to subtract 15 from both sides, and I would get 2x squared plus x minus 15 is equal to 0. So that's the first step. The next step is to completely factor the left member. Now, in order to factor the left member, I need to use guess and check factoring. This negative sign tells me that I'm going to have different signs. So I'm going to put down a minus and a plus. Now, I don't know if that is the order, but I'm going to put it down. Now, the 2x squared. The only way to get 2x squared is 2x times x. Now I need to list all the ways of getting 15. Well, to get 15, I can use 3 times 5. I can use 5 times 3. I can use 15 times 1. And I can use 1 times 15. I need to guess which of these will give me the correct middle term of x. Well, let's just guess 5 and 3. Okay, let's check. 2x times x is 2x squared. Now, if I multiply 2x times 3, I get 6x. If I multiply negative 5 times x, I get a negative 5x. 6x plus a negative 5x will give me the 1x. And then a negative 5 times a positive 3 is negative 15. So we can see that these are indeed the correct factors. Now once you factor it, then you set each factor equal to 0. So I have 2x minus 5 is equal to 0. X plus 3 is equal to 0. Set each factor equal to 0. Now we simply solve each resulting equation. To solve the resulting equations, I need to get x by itself. So what I need to do here is to add 5 to both sides, which gives me 2x is equal to 5. A negative 5 plus 5 adds to 0. 2x plus 0 is 2x. 0 plus 5 is 5. Now to get 2 by itself, I need to divide by 2. So I can say 2x divided by 2 is equal to 5 divided by 2, or x is 5/2. Now for x plus 3 is equal to 0, I need to add a negative 3 to both sides, which gives me x plus 3 plus negative 3 is 0. 0 plus negative 3 is negative 3. Of course, x plus 0 is x, so I get x is negative 3. I decided to put in that extra step in case you missed it when I talked about it. So we get the two answers we expect. X is 5/2, x is negative 3. I don't think I'm going to check this one for you. I'm going to give you one more example and then give you some exercises.